Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tailor Made, the show where you pose the questions and you get your answers tailor-made by Hamline University head football coach Chip Taylor. This week on Tailor Made, the coach answers questions about the tough loss against St. John's last week and what he's looking forward to against Bethel for this week. He tells us what may be his dream job, and the coach answers a whole lot of questions about his beloved Philadelphia sports town. So let's join Tailor Made. So let's welcome back Coach Taylor this week. Coach, let's first of all begin with team updates you have for us.
The team is doing well. For the most part, we're healthy, for November football. So we're just excited for, another opportunity, and we're ready to roll on November 12th.
This last weekend, you took on St. John's, which was a really close game heading into the halftime. They got away with it in the second half. What do you take away from a game like this?
Wow. Well, hats off to Coach Fashing up there. That's a great place to play, great atmosphere. I want to thank our fans for, showing a lot of support. It was good to see a lot of Hamline people up there. What we take away from it is that we know that we feel like we're getting to a point now where I wouldn't say we're making a turn, but when you can hang in there with a caliber team, the nine ranked team in the country, 14 to 6 at half, and play well, play hard. They just are a really good football program, and their defense is really, really good, and they're very well coached. So, we just wore down, and we didn't make enough plays, but we took a lot of positives. The positives we can play, and we just got to be able to play for 60 minutes now. And that's where we need to get this program to.
A big positive you have to take away from that is that Zach and Johnny just looked huge in the way they played defense for you.
Yeah, again, those guys were dialed in. St. John's, for whatever reason, for those two guys, that game they always get excited, especially of going up there and playing. So they had a little bit extra juice, I'd say, going into that game, but they were very excited. They were dialed in, and they had big games for us, but just unfortunately not big enough to get the ultimate goal, which is the win on the scoreboard. So.
Well, this weekend you take on Bethel, a team that started out struggling early on but has kind of gotten on a roll of late. What are some concerns you see about facing them?
How much time do you have? First of all, they have a staff up there that's been together for 18 plus years. So Coach Johnson does a great job of keeping everybody on the same page. That's the number one thing that sticks out with them. They're well coached. They have some guys that are running around and are making plays, offensively and defensively. So, we're going to have to really, from a defensive standpoint, I've said this on this show before, when you're facing the good teams in this league, you can't stop these guys. You're going to have to be able to try and slow them down and just continue to keep grinding and punch, counterpunch. And then their defense is definitely coming around too as well. So we're going to have to make the plays. We're going to have to be right when the ball's in play. So, we have a huge task in front of us this Saturday with Bethel coming down here.
They have a freshman quarterback in Jake March who's really maturing as the season's gone along. What are some challenges that he poses, do you think?
Well, again, it all starts back with the guy who's touching the ball the most in the game. Does he make good decisions? He makes very good decisions with the football. He's athletic, and you can tell the way he's getting coached. His confidence is growing and growing. So, hopefully we can do some things to slow him down again. You're not going to be able to stop a caliber kid like that. So you got to just try to slow guys down and be in position to make plays. And when you are in position, you have to make the play too. So that's where we're at right now.
You talked about how the defense is improving at Bethel. Dawson Brown is a big key to that. How do you try to neutralize a player like that from being able to make so many plays?
Wow, man, Dawson Brown is a guy. I remember watching him play his state championship game from Becker, and I said that is a really good ball player, and he ends up at Bethel. So I just shake my head and scratch my head, but he's a good ball player. What you got to try and do is when he's up around the line of scrimmage, you got to try to set the protection to him, and you got to try to make sure when you're throwing the football, you're staying away from that guy because he's a ball hawk. He's a good tackler. He's a good player in space. I'm very impressed, and it's actually fun. Obviously, not playing against them, but when you watch him on tape, it's good to see somebody like that where we really like them, and you watch him in high school and you say, "Wow, he's really become a good college football player." So it's cool to watch him play other teams, but I'm not going to be looking forward to watching him on Saturday.
Well, before we head to our fan questions, let's talk a little bit about the fact that this is the first year of your head coaching year ending here. last game for some of the seniors that you're going to have there. So how was this experience for you as head coach heading in, watching that this is the last game you're going to be coaching these young men?
Well, it's tough because, the interesting thing is, when I got here, those freshmen who are now seniors got here too. So it's a little surreal, when you start thinking about guys like Anthony Hill, Zach Swalbeck, Johnny Wynn, Lucian Janjuski, Caden Mead, Alonzo Duarte. On defense, you say not in our offense, got Travis Witt, Deion Bishop, Chase Dugan. You start thinking about those guys like, holy smokes, man, they were here when I got here, and it's just a little surreal, man, to watch those guys play their last game. They took a chance on Hamline. The year before when they got here, we were 1-9. We got here the first year, we were 2-8. To really step out on a limb and take a chance, we're so appreciative for those seniors, and it's going to be bittersweet watching them play their last game and watching them have to leave Hamline University. But that's the way it goes in college football, right? You only get 4 years, so got to get in and we got to give them all we got, and then they got to go. So they'll be ready for the real world, though. So I'm excited to watch them play.
Heading into our fan questions, the first one is from Ethan from New Richmond. He says, when you go to recruit or plan your recruiting, are there certain positions that you focus on for the recruits that you are looking for?
Yes, Ethan, great question. I can tell you right now, it's not a secret. Everybody who's watched us play this year, we're going to have to really work hard with our lines, particularly our offensive line. We're really going to have to hit that hard in order to keep justice upright for the next 2 seasons after this. So, you just try to look and see what's on your roster, and you have to go out and recruit accordingly. But offensive line is a position, and I think we're always going to be able to get skill here. It's just the offensive line, and that's at any level. Every level I've been at, you're always trying to find different linemen. So we're really going to put a great effort and tailor our recruiting to find some large people. Like we're going to play Bethel, they have large people up front, so we got to start getting some large people up front too. So.
I think a lot of people don't realize that one of the challenges that you face, too, is that because Hamline's such a high academics institution as well, that makes recruiting a little more challenging, I would think.
Sure it does. It does make it a little bit more trickier, but, the one thing I always say, with the academic part, even when our kids try to, I'm not saying use an excuse, but I had to study or I had to go to class. I say, well, the guys at Harvard and Penn and Princeton, they got to go to class too, and that's the Ivy League. So there are no, and they got to recruit smart football players too. So, yes, it is tough, but we can't use that as a crutch or an excuse. We got to go out and find the brightest guys that want to come and continue to keep getting Hamline University to where it needs to be.
Zeke from Brainerd would like to know from you. He says, I hear a lot of coaches say that they learn more from their players than the players learn from them. What are some things you will take away from these seniors and your team in general this year?
Wow. You know what? I think more so from the seniors is sometimes in life you got to take a chance. And that's what I learned from these guys. Again, like I said earlier, when we got here, we were inheriting a 1-9 team, and those guys, those seniors, they said, yes, I want to come to Hamline and try and get this thing turned. So it was a little leap of faith to come to Hamline. So that's what I learned from the seniors. From the team this year, I learned that, in order to be a good MIAC football team, and anything you do in life, there's a level of toughness that you have to have, and that's in football, and it's just in your everyday life. You got to be tough and disciplined. So those are some of the things that, I watched our team grow from training camp and being tough and disciplined. That's like, okay, these guys are really buying into what we're doing here. So, it kind of helped me as well, too. And you're right, you do learn a lot. I do learn a lot from our players, so it's a good question.
Jenny from St. Paul would like to know if Hamline is what you would consider to be your dream job.
Oh, Jamie, great question from St. Paul. Start putting those titles again, dream, job, success. I'd have to say Hamline is my first head coaching job, so it is a dream job for me. I love it here. I love the location. I love everything about it. The administration, the people I work with on a day-to-day basis are the kind of kids we get here. So I would have to say it is a dream job for me. I'm excited to be here, and hopefully I'll be here for a long time.
We had a lot of professional sports questions for you this week. First of all, Aaron from Duluth would like to know, do you think it is a bad idea for a coach to return to a quarterback who has been injured when his replacement has been winning?
Aaron from Duluth, great question. I'm going to assume, which I don't like to do a lot, that this is stemming from the whole Dallas Cowboys stuff, and I would say you stick with the hot hand. You don't mess up with what's going on. So that's just my personal opinion.
Ian from St. Paul would like to know, do you have a favorite player in football that you like to watch?
Ian, St. Paul, how you doing, man? As I said before on this show, I don't watch a lot of football. It's just not really, our schedules aren't set up to do that. But I can tell you this, growing up, and even in college, man, there are a lot of guys I used to like to watch. But Deion Sanders was a guy that I really, if I knew a game was coming on with Deion Sanders, I was in front of that TV. I wanted to see if, because you never knew when he was going to do something special. So right in today's game, I'd say no, because I just don't watch enough football right now. But growing up, it was Deion Sanders. You bet.
Greg from St. Paul would like to know from you, how do the 76ers get all of those high draft picks each season and still stink?
Oh, Greg from St. Paul, man. It's funny you use the word still stink, man. You can sit in with Philly fans, man, because that's what we're saying right now, man. We stink. The Sixers, we got a ways to go. I don't know. It'd be interesting to I'd say maybe for a week to get into to get over to their facility and just see how they're running day-to-day operations. Not that I know anything about basketball, but, I have to say that, it's probably something to do with leadership. I don't know. I don't know that the head coach, I don't know his track record that well. I know once the season's over, I'll start watching and studying a little bit more, see where he's from. But, we've got to get it turned around out there, man, because Philadelphia is such a good sport. Like Minneapolis, it's a great sports city when the sports are doing well, but we're down right now. So,
Leon from Cincinnati asks of you, why is it that some teams always seem to be bad?
Leon from Cincinnati, great question. I think it goes back to what I said in number 6. Sometimes it's, sometimes you can always blame it on coaching. Or I think a lot of people, in college too, I think a lot of people, when teams are traditionally bad, it's the coaching, fire a coach. But I think at some point, if teams are consistently bad, you got to start looking at, let's look at the administration. Let's look at the infrastructure, how the place is set up. Is it set up to be successful? So, it's a lot that goes into it. I'm not saying that it's never coaching, because coaches will lose you games, but sometimes you got to look a little higher, and that's why I'm really enjoying my time here at Hamline, because President Miller is she's all in. Jason Verdugo, he's all in. They want sports to be good here, so that's why Hamline is a great place to be.
And I think one point that you've made has been the fact that, the most successful season in Hamline in like 20 years, and you've always said it's the president of the school, it's the athletic director who are making that possible for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
DeAndre from Chicago would like to know, where would you rate LeBron in comparison to Michael Jordan?
Wow, DeAndre from Chicago, that's a great question, man. This is a barbershop question. You hear about this argument a lot in the barbershop. For me, personally, growing up watching Michael Jordan, 6 rings, I still think that he's on top. LeBron James is a little different, though. He has 3 rings, so he's still behind Jordan. But LeBron is just a physical specimen, and Michael Jordan might have been able to do what I'm about to say, but I think LeBron could get on an NFL roster right now and be a legit tight end for a team. Maybe Michael Jordan could have been a wide receiver, but just looking at him physically, LeBron is just is a big, athletic, strong, can run. He's smart. He's the ultimate teammate. It sounds like, where I heard Michael Jordan was a little bit tricky to be a teammate of his. So, I just think that, on paper, Michael still has them, but LeBron has a couple more rings to get, and I think you can really start to push for LeBron to be ahead of Jordan. But it's going to take some time. So to answer your question, I still have it Michael Jordan and LeBron is behind me.
You were talking about how tough it is to be a Philly fan at the moment. So John from Philly asked, Coach, it looks like a tough time to be a Philadelphia sports guy. Which team do you think will be the first to win a championship? The Phillies, the Flyers, the Eagles, or the Sixers?
John from Philly, good to hear from you. It's good to have a Philly fan that's taking part in this. That's big time. I'd have to say, John, we know it's not going to be the Sixers. The Eagles were a little ways away. The Phillies were a ways away. I think if I had to put my money on one, which I'm not a gambling man, I'd have to say the Flyers. I think we're a little bit closer with the Flyers. We'll watch. I'm actually gonna see if I can see the Flyers when they come out here. I got a chance to catch them when they were out here last year. That was pretty cool. So I always try to catch a Philly team. I'll see the Sixers when they come out here this year too, and the Phillies this summer. So, so we'll see. But I think to answer your question there, John, it will be the Flyers.
Jack from Minneapolis asks, are there other sports that you recommend that kids play that could help them in football?
Absolutely, Jack from Minneapolis. That's a great question. I think as younger, I think soccer is a great sport for them to play because of the hand-eye coordination, the motor skills it develops. I think that's an awesome sport. Another one, if I can go back and do it over again, gymnastics, flexibility. I think that would be awesome for young people to do if they want to get into football. So I'd say gymnastics and soccer, good hand-eye coordination things can help you out. So that's a great question, Jack.
Our last question comes from Tom from Seattle. He says, Coach, my wife does not want turkey for Thanksgiving and wants to have ham. Thanksgiving without turkey? That's just un-American, isn't it?
Tom from Seattle, great question. It's good to have a Seattle fan listening. Wow, no turkey on Thanksgiving. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a tough one. I think she needs to hopefully you guys can get on the same page and maybe you can break a tradition of hers and get some turkey. As far as it being just un-American, I guess that's something that has always been done. So, I guess I'd have to say that it's a little un-American, but, times are changing. So, who knows what people want to do. So, but I know turkey is a staple, and I definitely look forward to turkey on that Thursday that Thursday in Thanksgiving, that Thursday in November. Always look forward to it. So.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us this week, Coach.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
We want to thank Coach Taylor for joining us on Taylor Made this week. If you have your own questions you'd like to ask the Hamline University coach, please send them to us at chiptaylor@minorleaguesportsreport.com. That's chiptaylor@minorleaguesportsreport.com. During the off-season, we will be recording the show on the first Thursday of each month, so we ask that you have your questions into us by the Wednesday prior to that first Thursday, so the coach has a little time to review them before we record the show. We look forward to seeing you during the off-season, and we thank you for joining us. I'm Rob Pannier, the managing editor of the Minor League Sports Report, and we'll see you next month on Taylor Made.